Welcome to Spiedel's Federal Tax Minute. I'm your host, Catherine Zidane. This week we're covering the IRS's online portal for filing 1099s and some tips for using it. Tax season is just around the corner, but that doesn't mean it's too early to sign up for Spiedel's post-tax season update and review webinar happening in May. Get answers to all the questions that pop up during tax season, plus 8 hours of CPE. For details, go to spiedel.com and click webinars. The IRS's Information Return Intake System, or IRS for short, which allows taxpayers and tax professionals to e-file any Form 1099, opened on January 10th to report 1099s for tax year 2023. IRS was mandated by the Taxpayer First Act of 2019. Users of the IRS portal are able to complete and file any Form 1099, submit up to 100 records per upload with CSV templates, file corrected Forms 1099, manage issuer information, request automatic extensions to file Forms 1099, and bulk file for application-to-application filers. In order to use the IRS system, you have to have an employer identification number, an IRS transmitter control code, and an API client ID for application-to-application filers only. However, the transition to IRS has not been without its share of problems. The registration process reportedly can be confusing. For example, a practitioner who operates their practice as a C corporation, where the practitioner is the only shareholder and officer, has to register as a sole proprietor and not as a corporate officer. This is because the system requires two responsible parties for corporations and partnerships, but not for sole proprietors. It doesn't matter that the tax professional is actually a corporation. If there is only one officer, the IRS system requires you to register as a sole proprietor. This is the workaround that was provided by the IRS System Help Desk. Tax professionals who are having issues with the registration process should contact the Help Desk via the number listed on the IRS's IRS webpage, and an agent will walk you through the registration process. Applications can take up to 45 days for the IRS to process and approve. This means it's highly unlikely that a tax professional can start the IRS registration process and timely file this year's returns due to this processing time. Also, practitioners are reporting that the system is easy to use, but doesn't operate without minor glitches. But remember, the IRS system is free to use. 1099 forms are filed instantly with the IRS, with downloadable forms to be mailed to recipients. And Form 1096 is not required when using the IRS system. Remember that beginning January 1st, 2024, the e-file threshold dropped significantly. Under final regulations issued by the IRS, electronic filing of information returns is required for taxpayers that file at least 10 or more returns in a calendar year, and filers are required to aggregate almost all information return types covered by the regulations to determine whether a filer meets the 10 return e-filing threshold. Spiedel's Summer Tax Webinar will dig into issues that tax pros are talking about. Get details on this 8-hour topic-driven webinar and get registered for one of 3 available dates at spiedel.com under webinars. That's all for this week. Join us next time for another episode of Spiedel's Federal Tax Minute.